Hey everybody, welcome back to Recordology. Okay, before we do anything on this show, I want to talk about something. Now, you may have noticed that there was something or somebody absent from the beginning of this show compared to the last show. That is, if you watched the last show early on, because we had an introduction on the community tab some time ago for our new mascot, Spinny, which is this guy right here, and he's super cool, he's super cute, and I love Spinny, and I will continue to defend Spinny because he's awesome, and every good show needs a mascot, and even though I am lovable, plush, and plump, that should not be me. So we need a cartoon character, and who knows, this guy's gonna be on shirts, on hats. I even thought about making a platter mat with him, or even a plush toy. So he's got a lot of future with the show. However, I decided to put a voice to the character and put that on the beginning of the last show. Poor Spinny got a lot of negative feedback, and I went ahead and deleted the very beginning of that video. I trimmed it so that we didn't have it on there because apparently folks didn't like Spinny talking, my wife included. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed with Spinny as a part of this show, however, in a non-speaking role. So anyway, there you go guys. You speak, I listen, even at the expense of this guy right here. Anyway, today we are going to be reviewing something completely new. I was contacted last week by a company called Lugu Lake in China, and they have actually been around, I think, since the early 90s, making loudspeakers and things like that. I'm not sure if they've been doing that under other brand names or whatnot, or in certain areas of the globe, but they have come to market with a brand new record player. Now, as you know, the record player space is incredibly crowded right now. If you go on Amazon, you're gonna find about 40 different suitcase manufacturers or companies marketing and selling them, because there's probably only about 5 different companies making them, and none of them are Crosley. For those of you, I get this question all the time. There's just another Crosley. Crosley doesn't make suitcase turntables, okay? They market them, they sell them, but they do not make them. They're certainly not making products under other people's names. They're not doing any OEM work that I'm aware of. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So these guys, Lugu Lake, are coming to market with this new turntable at an incredible price point. And I also get the question quite a bit, how much does this turntable cost? Well, if you want to find out, click on the link in the description below. That is, if this is a passable unit, if I can give it my thumbs up, I will put a link below. If not, I never put a link below on a product I don't endorse. But we're gonna take a look at it, unbox it, review it, see if it's up to snuff, all that good stuff. It's gonna be fun, guys. You're not gonna wanna miss this.
This is Recordology.
Okay guys, and here it is. It's a pretty stark box, just black and white. I tried really hard not to do any research on this ahead of time. I just wanted to experience it. It says Lugu Lake, vinyl record player-ish, piano baking varnish, new. So I'm glad that it's new. That's a good thing. Let's go ahead and open it up. It's a pretty simple box. It's not sealed from the outside anyway. So it's pretty much an all-in-one unit, it looks like. We've got our power supply in this little box here on the top. We'll set that aside. A little foam blocking material just to kind of brace it. And that's pretty much all there is to it. We've got a couple of styrofoam blocks on there and some plastic wrap. Here's the power supply. It comes pre-equipped with a US plug on there. I'm sure that's adaptable depending on what region you're in, assuming this is available elsewhere. This was sourced from a local Amazon warehouse, so I'm sure they pre-configure by region, you know, what kind of power supply. So it's loosely wrapped in this plastic wrap here. I don't think it's an anti-static wrap. I'm not sure. And I say anti-static wrap all the time like I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea. But this looks like your basic plastic wrap. I'm usually terrible about tearing these open from the opposite end than the tone arm is, which probably puts undue pressure on the tone arm. So I'm trying very carefully this time to kind of open it gently around that tone arm. I want to give this record player every opportunity to shine. So I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything to the contrary. First opinion is the smell. It does smell like varnish, but that's cool. It's a good thing. It looks like a beautiful piece of furniture. Let's go ahead and take a look at the manual here. It says, thanks for purchasing Lugu Lake Turntable. Every change we make is for you, which is awesome. Here's a little card with some QR codes for their Twitter and Facebook and information about the company. It does have a 12 months warranty. And it looks great. I mean, it looks like they're doing the right thing here. They've got good instructional information. They've got a good warranty. The packaging is professional. I mean, this is like a, pretty high quality looking little insert, which I think is reflective of the overall quality. But this unit is gorgeous, you guys. This varnish is about a foot thick. And I say that facetiously, but seriously, it's such a deep and rich varnish. It is truly like a piano, which is really apparently the thing to do now. Just gorgeous with these sort of bronze accents, metal speaker grills, and it is an all-in-one unit. So it's got a big volume / on knob. That is metal, which I was very impressed with. It's very, I use the back of my hand to test it to make sure it's metal, but I was very impressed. The finishings look really good. I mean, that's pretty typical speaker grill. But, it's awesome from what I can tell. It's got audio outputs. It's got an aux input. It runs on 12 volts. I was a little surprised it wasn't a 5-volt machine. Most of the units that have these types of mechanisms are 5-volt, but this one is 12. The bottom, it's got little kind of soft plastic feet, not quite rubber, and sort of a interesting material on the bottom. It's got a rigid sort of felt platter mat, even though it is a non-full-size platter. It has a pretty typical assembly on here, as you can tell. It is a little bit angled, as you can see there, and sometimes that happens. I mean, those are mass-produced. Okay, you've got your 45 RPM adapter, snugly fit in that little inset there. Counterbalance, you've got a speed selector switch as well as an auto start on and off. Let's go ahead and remove the cartridge and stylus protector and take off this little twisty tie here. And take a closer look. And I'm really curious about this unit, you guys. It looks cool. But before I do anything, I can't help myself. I have to take it apart, at least a little bit. Let's look under the hood. It's going to be a belt-driven turntable. This is a typical mechanism, as a lot of you have seen many, many times. But I'm always fascinated, like what version it is and how they're doing it. And as you can see, there's the motor pulley on the right, the rubber belt, and that goes right under here on the bottom side of the platter on that inner ring. It attaches to that and then connects to the motor pulley right there. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm always interested to see if the wiring is an elegant wiring plan. And what I mean by that is, are they using like professional connectors? As you can see, there's a zip tie in there. Is everything bundled together, or is it just a big hot mess? And from what I can see, limited what I can see, but what I can see, this looks like it's well laid out. And I even saw some compartmentalization where they were actually putting wood blocking or MDF blocking in between different areas, which is good. These little circlips here that hold on the platter are really tricky to get back on. And best not to mess with those guys. It's really hard to get that belt back on there as well. It took me a few times. There's the counterbalance. It is a spring-loaded counterbalance. It's going to track right around 5 grams, which is perfectly fine. It's not going to damage your records, and I'll prove that in a little bit. It's got a cueing lever. These little cueing lever rests right there in the back sometimes don't want to go all the way down, and that can cause some of the skipping that these do. This happens on the suitcase players as well, so sometimes you have to push it down. There is the auto start-stop switch, which basically tells the turntable to start automatically when you rotate the stylus over the record. And there's a speed select. That's 3-speed, 33, 45, and 78. The cartridge is going to be a Chuo Denchi clone, ceramic, and probably a ruby tip. Let's look a little closer there. A little stylus tip. Yep, it's kind of reddish. So that is a ruby tip. It's not going to sound any different than a diamond one. It just won't last quite as long. And let's take a look at the belt there under the platter, some spring mechanisms to allow it to have some sound isolation. Okay, again, I really want to give this record player every opportunity to shine. So I'm going to clean the records, and sometimes I just slap records on them when we're testing and whatnot, but I really want to give this the best chance to sound as good as possible. So we're going to go ahead and clean our records, always in a circular motion. You never want to go against the direction of the grooves. Okay, let's go ahead and power it up and give it a listen. Okay, we're going to use the carbon fiber brush as well to make sure there's no dry material in those grooves, but listen to that motor noise. It's a little bit amplified here due to the automatic gain control on the mic, but still, not just my breathing, but a pretty loud motor. Let's go ahead and listen to the record itself. Throw in. I'm going to keep this motor noise in the background just so you can hear it a little bit. That's one issue, but the pitch seems to be off. I think that Frank sounds a little too fast. I meant to do, and then my heart. I know the way you treated other men. Dang it. it definitely has a pitch issue. So let's go ahead and take out a strobe disc here, and we're going to take a look at it. It's going to be the inner 3 rings. The outermost of the inner rings is 33. The next one in the middle there is 45, and the innermost ring is going to be 78. So it's kind of hard to see because the shutter speed of the camera can affect, what we're seeing there. But to the eye, I can tell that all 3 speeds are fast. I'm switching between the 3 speeds here, and depending on which one I go to, all 3 of them are just way too fast. So it's a good excuse to take this unit apart further. And while I'm at it, I'll try to clean a stylus. But actually, I can't even use the queuing lever to lift it up high enough, so I'm going to manually kind of dip it on there. But this is kind of wasting time because we've got other issues to delve into.
What else? You change 4 score and 7 to...
The 78 is almost comically fast, as was Bob Newhart there. While we're here, let's go ahead and test the tracking force. I'm assuming this is going to track at 5 grams like most of these units do. Obviously, we've got bigger fish to fry with the speed inconsistencies. But yep, it tracks right at 5 grams. So it's not going to damage your records due to weight. Time to take the bottom cover off. And actually, I'm kind of interested to see, how this elegant wiring that I was able to observe extends under the hood, as it were. So this is interesting. This bottom panel, sort of this fiberboard wrapped in velour, kind of a fake velvet. And underneath here, very interesting. You got 3-watt speakers there, a little chip for the power and volume control, so it's probably a switch. And the varnish extends under the unit as well. I'm actually impressed with the construction and the layout. In terms of speed issues, it's got to be a pretty simple motor issue. I'm hoping we can just make an adjustment. And there is the motor itself, as well as some control for the turntable motor, the tone arm. Those red and white wires that come in on that braid are the actual cartridge wires. And it looks like the motor has 2 pots or control adjustments. So we'll see what we can do about that. There is a chip down there. There's also a little pot on there. I'm not 100% sure what that does. But yeah, there it is. Pretty simple, pretty elegant, good zip ties. I don't see a bunch of tape. There's even little cable plugs that are removable. Okay, I'm going to use an adjustment screwdriver, really tiny little eyeglasses screwdriver, to make adjustments on those pots. And again, it's hard to see what I'm doing in the video here, but we're trying to get this ring right here, which is the 33 speed one, locked in. And there we go. It's a little bit better. As I switch to 45, that's way too fast as well. Okay, we got that one in. So I wasn't able to adjust the 78 speed because there was only 2 screw adjustments, so not sure how to adjust the 78 RPM speed, but this should fix the other 2 speeds. Let's give it a listen.
During the Civil War, as it is today, and there was no Lincoln. On the V of a night open road.
There is no way to get a more accurate speed on a record player than with a strobe disc. It's more accurate than anything else out there. And now we've got our entry-level record player here locked in with perfect speed at 45 and 33, and it sounds good. In closing, I think it's a good unit. I mean, you may be in for a little bit of a project, so I'd be advised that that could come up with your unit as well. Could be a one-off issue, but overall I like it. It's a pretty cool unit, actually.
Okay guys, and there's nothing more fun to photograph than a stark black and white box in bright sunlight. But anyway, here it is. This is the Lugu Lake turntable, and it's pretty cool. Did you guys like it? If you're interested in one, go ahead and click on the link in the description below. That's all for today, guys. Happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.